This is the Eddie Corns podcast. Today, we've got a fun episode. We're ranking all 18 coaches in the AFL from S to D tier. There's some controversial opinions in here. So if you disagree with anything, get in the comments section below. Defend your coach. Tell me and Finlay where we went wrong. Make the arguments for and against each coach we discuss in this episode. I think it's a pretty fun little podcast. So if you enjoy, leave a like, subscribe on YouTube, Apple, and Spotify. Speaking of subscribing, we hit 500 subscribers on YouTube already. We set a goal to get there by the end of February. I'm recording this on the 12th in the afternoon, and we're already there. So that's just incredible. Appreciate all of your support so much on this podcast, particularly over the last 2 months. The interaction and the likes and just everything has been amazing to watch and to continue to watch this show grow. So everyone involved, we love that you're getting on board and supporting the podcast, and we're just going to keep getting bigger and better as the footy season officially kicks off. We got Origin on Saturday. We talk about that at the very end of the podcast as well, which kind of signals the beginning of the footy season. So again, thank you all so much for your support on this podcast. Let's keep it going. We talk about 1,000 subscribers off the very top, and what I might do if we get to 1,000 subscribers by a certain time frame. I won't spoil it for the podcast. So let's jump right into it. We're ranking coaches. Enjoy. Finlay, we are back. And how good is this? We hit 500 subscribers on YouTube. We absolutely crushed the goal of hitting 500 subscribers before the end of February. We're recording this in the afternoon of the 12th. That's like, 16 plus days that we had to complete the goal, and we've already done it. So shout out to all the e-corners out there. I don't know if that's the nickname we're going with. Finlay doesn't seem to like it, but shout out to all of you who have subscribed. Let's keep it going because me and Finlay have been discussing. We want to do something special for the 100th subscriber episode. So Finlay, I don't know if you have any ideas, but I'm willing to put myself out there and do whatever the fans of this show would like me to do. So leave your suggestions in the comments on either Spotify, YouTube, head over to my social media at CornsEddy on Twitter or on Instagram, and tell me what I should do for when we hit 100 subscribers. Let's put out a challenge.
It's 1,000. It's 1,000, mate.
Sorry, 1,000, not 100, not 100, 1,000. Let's put out a challenge though. If we hit,
it's got to be the top comment.
Okay. If we hit 1,000 subscribers before Port Adelaide win 3 games in a row this year, I'll do whatever the top comment says.
So basically, if we hit 1,000 subs by the end of the year, because Port aren't winning 3 games on the trot.
We'll see. Do you have any suggestions for the people on what they should comment?
Oh, I think a buzz cut could be inevitable. I think maybe a big run, a big long run.
I could do that.
A little calorie challenge, maybe.
Calorie challenge, yeah.
Or I'm thinking like I don't know, pay for Finlay to go on a business class holiday. I'm
not going overseas, nice. So don't comment. Go train MMA in Thailand or something like that because we're not doing it. All right,
you could do.
Let's jump into the episode.
So I actually just been extremely cut up there. So what we're going to do is I'm going to re-say what I was going to say there. And I was going to say the top comment should be pay for an all expenses trip to Port Douglas in the off season. Cheers, chat.
Yeah, okay. That was worth cutting you off for. Well done. Let's go and tell the viewers why we are currently in this random layout that they've never seen before. The reason for it is today, we're ranking coaches. We're going to rank all 18 coaches currently in the AFL in the tier list you currently see on your screen. You're missing out if you're not watching the video today. So if you're just listening on Apple, head over to Spotify, head over to YouTube, watch the video. We have the tier list in front of you. It's not a disaster if you're driving or you're cleaning or you're doing something and you just want to listen. That's fine. You'll still get 90% of the experience. But if you want the best possible viewing of this episode and listening of this episode, switch over to the video and you'll see the tier list and you'll see where we put these coaches. We'll also put a graphic up on my Instagram and on Finlay's Instagram at Corns. Eddie, what's your Instagram?
Finlay Butcher 1. Thank you.
Great. So that'll be up in a few days' time if you're not watching the video and you want to double and triple check what our rankings ended up being. We're going to start with the premiership coach of 2025 and 2024, Chris Fagan. Where would you like to rank him?
Oh, Fags. He's one of the great people. I just love this man. He's got to be up the top end. Like he's in ARS. Of the current coaches,
this is an easy S for me.
It's probably the easiest one to place in S. Just recent track record alone puts him in S.
Yeah. All right. Let's drag Fags over to the S tier.
That's not one of the ones we can pull a clip farm off.
Finlay, this is a very interesting one coming up next. Very interesting. Matthew Nicks. We've got a lot of Crow supporters that listen to this podcast, and
unfortunately,
there's a few very loud critics of Matthew Nicks at the moment. Still hasn't won a final. He's been at the Crows for quite an extended period of time now. Where do you have him ranked?
I almost want to skip him to see what we do with the rest. That's how hard it is. I don't think people are going to give us any credit for how hard this is.
Well, we encourage people, after they listen to this podcast, go and do it yourself before you leave an angry comment. Or leave an angry comment and then go do it yourself. It is difficult. However, I look at some of these coaches that we're going to eventually rank, and I think the talent that the Crows had last year, years prior, I think is unfair, but the talent they had last year, they should have won a final. I mean, let's be for real. They finished first. They were unbelievable in the home and away season, and he got out-coached in both finals. He did. He got out-coached. So he's a B or C tier for me. I'm going to let you be the deciding vote.
I'd chime in and I'd say he probably finishes this quiz at the bottom of the B tier just for the unbelievable home and away year last year. I think that gives him enough credit to be in the bottom of the B tier, not at the top of the C.
Good point. I like it. We'll put him at the bottom of the B tier. Another really interesting one now. Michael Voss. Rough few years with Carlton. I mean, the fairy tale run they had a couple years ago was amazing, and then obviously previous to that, Brisbane, which wasn't ideal. Where you got Vossy?
I think this is as easy as it gets. He goes in C. Cheers. I don't think there has to be much discussion. Carlton.
You don't think there's any case for the D tier for Vossy?
Oh, it's tough. Like what did people? I guess the expectation on Carlton's always been a bit mixed throughout the league, talent wise. This is so hard. We aired this idea last night on the phone, thinking, "Oh, this will be good, won't it?" 20 minutes in, it's not as easy as we thought here. I'm happy with C, and I don't think he's going to stay at the top of the C tier, just looking at the rest of the roster, just because severely underperformed last year from where they were the year prior. I think so, especially in...
Yeah, no, that's fair. I think Carlton's list is incredibly top heavy, and I sympathise with Vossy, particularly for this coming season, because I think Carlton's just in a really tough spot list-wise, and I think they're in need of a rebuild, if I'm being honest. Not necessarily an extended North Melbourne rebuild or a West Coast rebuild, but maybe just a couple years to reset down the bottom of the ladder. Vossy's not in a position to do that. Like, there is pressure on him to win now, and I just don't see a pathway for Carlton to be a finals team this year. I don't think the list is anywhere near good enough, and I don't think they have enough young talent coming through just yet to push them towards that, bottom of the 8 type range. So I'm going to put Vossy C tier. I think he's towards the end of C tier, but I also do feel like he hasn't had a great run at it. Like, he's gotten pretty unlucky at both clubs with the list he's been given. And I do wonder if the situation had been slightly different for Vossy, he might have been much higher up this list, because we've seen him at Port Adelaide as a midfield coach and he was unbelievable. So clearly he knows what he's doing, and it's not like he's a D tier coach. It's just, pretty surprising he's even still got a job. I don't feel that way at all with Vossi, but I just don't think he's performed quite up to scratch yet, and you got to put him in C tier. Fly's next. I'm guessing you're going to advocate for A tier with this one.
Yeah, I like Fly. The Collingwood Football Club is always incredibly well coached. No matter their performance, system-wise, I think they've always been a very mature side, and I guess that also comes in with their age as well. But I think Fly's been a great addition. Obviously won the flag in his second year, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Made finals in the first year, won the flag in the second year. Did really well with the predictions of where they were going to finish in the seedings last year. Overplayed what anyone really thought they were going to. So I think merit on that alone, and anyone who's won a flag in the last 5 years just can't be anywhere lower than the middle of B, I don't think. So, well, I'm all right with A.
Let's go A. Agree. He is someone who's benefited from situation. Like Collingwood is just incredibly well run, and they've said we're going all in on your era of Collingwood football. So they've traded away whatever he's liked. They've gone after players like Houston, and they've kind of said there is no future past Craig McRae at this football club, and we're going all in on this era. So he's had the benefit of that, but also Collingwood last year when they were at their best were the team that executed the very best of any other side in the competition. Like they, particularly in fourth quarters, were just automatic in making sure that they were going to get late game situations right. And it's why they were so successful for 80% of the season until the older players started to break down and they fell off towards the end. But then again, Collingwood got really close to beating Brisbane in a final, and Brisbane won the grand final. So it wasn't a disaster of an ending for a season for Collingwood. And I think people forget that if maybe a couple umpiring decisions had gone a different way, we could be talking very differently about last year. Not saying that I necessarily agree with that point of view, but I think an argument can be made. Brad Scott, where you got him?
Wow. Similar to Vossi in just the way that, like, what opportunity has this bloke had to succeed since he came into the
Do you
job?
put any of the blame for the entire Zach Merritt thing on Brad Scott?
Oh, I certainly wouldn't be, he wouldn't be the first person I'd blame. I don't know I feel like his hands are tied in a way. Like, I mean, he could have just gone after the trade and thought, hang on, we're going to get the best we possibly can while we still can get a decent deal for him. But other than that, I'm not sure what else he could have done. And with obviously the injury plague last year, that was just like, Essendon were never going to get anywhere. So he's similar to Vossi in what you were saying in the way that what opportunity has he had to really succeed? I think his career at Essendon is not so much a reflection on his individual skill or coaching nuance, more the situation that he's been kind of chucked in with a somewhat failing club.
Agree. So we're going to put him C tier. Would you have him over Vossi or Vossi over him?
That's not a decision I can make till 8 months' time, but I think under Vossi for now.
Really? I'm actually going to go over. I'm going to make the executive call here. And
that's your podcast, mate. I'm not bothered.
I'm going to put him over Vossi because I think the injury situation last year, it doesn't matter who you are on this list. No one's making finals with that injury list. No one. And Essendon just has a history, at least in my lifetime, of being, and actually longer than that, of being pretty cursed. So I think there's some organisational blame on that is deserved to be put on Essendon. And of course, Brad Scott hasn't been perfect in his tenure, but I think he gets treated slightly too harshly. That doesn't put him above C tier, though. Oh, it's guts up cup time. Kingy's man, Justin Longmire.
Oh, Lord.
This is a really tough one.
I'll let you take the floor. There's a few I'm very confident with you taking the floor on here, and the other one starts with B and ends with Evo.
We got to talk about Bevo, actually. That's going to be interesting. Yeah, this is hard. I'm going to put him at the top of C tier.
Yeah. Yep, happy, happy, happy.
It might be harsh, but I also think Freo has a really good list. Now, the counterpoint to that is yes, it's a great list, but it's also really young. So last year, I think an argument can be made that Freo are still 1 or 2 years off being where um, they're at a point as a team that they can actually compete for a premiership, and maybe we're being too harsh on Justin. However, I think there's been a lot of criticism of his game plan and how he coaches Freo to play. That is valid. I think they're way too slow as a team, and we've seen all the data come out from Hoyne and everyone at Champion Data. The teams that play the fastest are typically the teams that finish at the top of the ladder, and the teams that can move the ball off turnover the best are the teams that are competing for premierships year in, year out. Freo has not shown they're a team that can play with pace, and it's been David King's main criticism of the team all season. I'm well and truly in agreement with Kingy on that, and I do feel if Fremantle had a coach that's going to be in either S or A tier in charge, I reckon last season we would have seen them win at least one final, and not bow out to Gold Coast and not be in the position of the Guts Up Cup the week before against the Dogs. So I'm putting him at the very top of C tier. I don't think we're going to get a coach anywhere above him in C tier, but yeah, still some work to be done for Freo and Longmire. Chris Scott.
I'll just quickly
Well, you
touch
go.
on Longmire. It's just like, I feel like he's got everything that he he had everything he needed to win a final in terms of the list. Their midfield list, and even coming off the half back line, going into deep and full forward, like it's quite stacked. Like you have a look at it, and it's like there's great ball users everywhere, and yet they still just toddle along, little 15-meter chip kicks around the place. Like they have the perfect list to just go literally guts up through the midfield, as you would say, and nothing happened. That was their one way they could have just so easily dominated last season, and they just refused to adapt. So I think that's the C tier with the likes of Brad Scott and Paddy Boss may not look too promising on paper, but I think it's accurate for where he needs to be.
It's actually a great point because I was on the Jumper Punch podcast about a week ago, and we were talking about how personnel affects coaching. And last year, with both Carlton and Port Adelaide, it felt like both coaches wanted to play a certain way, but it just wasn't possible with the personnel they'd been given for that year. That's not the case with Fremantle. They have the personnel to play a fast brand of football, and a decision has been made by that coaching staff to say, no, we're going to play slow, we're going to play methodical, and we're going to go against the grain. And sometimes you get coaches who go against the grain, and we look back at them and we say they were geniuses, they were ahead of the curve, and now we've got almost every team in the competition trying to copy what they were doing. Then there's also coaches who say, well, what the hell were they thinking? For multiple years, they were doing something that no one else was doing, and it was a complete failure. This year is going to be the test now for Fremantle. Like, is this a style of play that is actually viable in 2026 AFL football when all the AFL is trying to do with these new rule changes and how the game's being umpired is speeding things up? So it's a real test for Fremantle, and it's a real test for their coaching. We'll wait and see what happens. Chris Scott, this is an easy S tier for me. Can we agree on that?
Yep, straight in. I think we move on.
Bang, done. Sam Mitchell. A lot of critics of Sam Mitchell. Can we talk about the AI story? Channel 7, Mitch Cleary did a story a couple of days ago with Sam Mitchell. He talks about how he uses AI in game planning and also in coming up with conversation starters with his players. It's not something I would have admitted publicly, I must admit. I wouldn't have gone public with it, but did you find anything wrong with that?
Look, with what you've said there, one of them leads to being an artistic coach, one of them leads to being an autistic coach. So I love it, mate. I love it. I'm a big AI user. I use it to diagnose me with medical conditions. I use it to gain, let's just say, succeed in my degree at university. I use it to get through year 12. I wouldn't be in university if ChatGPT didn't exist. You know that, especially from our research project class a couple years ago. I didn't have anything done by term 3, and I was a bit like, oh, yeah, now let's get this smashed out in a day. I don't know how in-depth it can go, though, with all the data and everything. I think it's probably best for pumping data into. I wouldn't say it's the best for generating its own data and reviewing footage. I think stick to the professionals. But if you want good analysis of already given and inputted data, I don't mind it. We'll have to see. I think the Hawks are up there with some of the favourites. So see what the AI can do for them.
I did find it funny kind of imagining Sam Mitchell seeing Jack Ginnivan doing like 6'7" or something and him going up to his office and chucking that in ChatGPT to trying to figure out what it meant, and trying to get some conversation starters off of that. But agree. AI is the tool of the future. I think with its current approval rating, I wouldn't necessarily have gone on Channel 7 and said I use AI to talk with my players. Wouldn't have been something I would have said publicly, but that's okay. Sam's an honest bloke, and I think the players love that. So I'm going to put him in A tier. I think he's a great coach. I think he is. I'm not going to say genius. Like, I reckon Dad can be on an island with that one. I don't think he's quite got the genius mantra yet until he wins a premiership or two. But the Hawks are a team I actually think have overachieved the last few years, and I don't think people kind of realise that with the injuries they've had, and I mean particularly with Will Day. Like they don't have a premiership midfield, and yet every single year they're there competing right at the pointy end of the season for that premiership cup. So I think he's a great coach. I think the players love him for a reason, and I'm sure one day we'll be talking about Sam Mitchell as a premiership winning coach. Another interesting one coming up. Kingers. Adam Kingsley.
Tough one.
Did you see the spray that was revealed by Channel 7? What do you think of that?
I can't do anything more with you lads.
What's the best spray you've ever received in your life? Doesn't have to be in sport. It could be from a parent. Yeah, what's the best spray?
No, Corn. It's gotta be either Mr. Maple or a Mr. Harms job. Should we tell a quick little off-track story about Mr. Harms? We won't say his first name. He did play cricket for Australia, so I'm sure you could find him out there somewhere. But Year 9 humanities, and we're on a little camp, and I'll reveal someone else's story for them, give them the couple minutes of fame, and we'll call him Josh, just to not reveal any names here. And big Josh over here, he hasn't been doing his work on the camp day. He's been faffing around doing nothing. And big Tim Harms gets in and asks Josh to open his book, and I'll let Corn take over because it's I need a good voice for this part.
Yeah, so we were in a museum, and I actually can't remember exactly what he said, but basically, what'd you call him? What was his name? I can't remember his name, but
Josh
opened his booklet, and there was nothing on the paper. And we had done nothing this whole museum trip, and he opened the book. Mr. Harms looked down at it and just punched it straight to the floor. I can't remember what he said after, but he went on this massive tangent, yelling and screaming, and Josh was sat there traumatized as his book was all crumpled up on the floor, getting a hole punched through it.
Josh was just like that. Josh was just like... It's one of the funnier things I've ever seen. Or my real biggest spray I've ever received is a joint one we were all a part of. Year 8, head of middle school gets up on stage. Anyone's hands going near the anus region.
I'm just not even going to provide context for that. We're just going to leave it with the Year 8 teacher told us not to go near the anus region. We'll leave it with that. Yeah, it was a brilliant spray from Kingers. I think good coach. Like, again, doesn't quite have the list to win a premiership yet. And I think GWS going all in on Clayton Oliver is just a decision I'll never agree with. But look, he got so close to a premiership. That blown game Was it 2 years ago now? We'll haunt the Giants for a long time, but I think King is a great coach, and I think he's A tier behind Craig McRae and Sam Mitchell.
Yeah, I think he's at the bottom of A.
Yeah. Dimmer. This is a tough one. Is he S?
No, is it? He has to be S. You can't win 3 straight and not be S.
Well, actually, you might be able to. We're going to get to the next guy in a second, but I think Dimmer is he's probably S, I reckon. If Gold Coast dominate this year, which they absolutely could, I think he's got to be S.
They will.
So I've got him behind Fags and Chris Scott, but yeah, I think he's S.
I think he was S before he started coaching Gold Coast, so
he was definitely S before Gold Coast, but so was this guy, Alistair Clarkson.
Whoa.
And I think there's a case to be made that we could get our first D tier here.
Well, we're going to have to disagree because, once again, you can't win 3 premierships and be in the D tier.
How long ago was that? Completely new team. I want to ask you a question. If you remove all of the Hawthorn stuff, the entire tenure Clarkson had with Hawthorn, you remove that, you forget about it, it never happened, and you just look at his tenure with North Melbourne in a vacuum, is Alistair Clarkson still employed at the club?
No. But then you also can't do that because he revolutionised modern football.
Okay, he revolutionised it.
Chris Fagan wouldn't have the chance to be an S tier if Alistair Clarkson didn't come before him.
I get that. I get it. But what has he done at North Melbourne that has put the club a step forward? Like, I don't think North has improved at all under Alistair Clarkson. And I get what he did with Hawthorn was incredible. I get it. But the reality is, North has to be right around the play-in, part of the ladder this year for me to think Alistair Clarkson isn't absolutely washed. And I just don't think North Melbourne's good enough yet to get to that point. Other than a few young key players like Sheasel, of course, and a few others, there's been zero development of the club under Alistair Clarkson. And I think if he gave truth serum to the top dogs at North Melbourne, not named Alistair Clarkson, and you ask them, has his tenure been a massive disappointment so far? I reckon they would all say yes.
Oh, I think his North Melbourne tenure's been not great, undoubtedly. I don't think there's anyone fighting against that. You just have to weigh up legacy versus, I guess, recency bias. It's a tough one.
But I don't know if it's not recency bias anymore, though, because how long has he been at North Melbourne for? Like a fair amount of time now. No, longer than that. And I get there was that. I think it was his first season was interrupted because he took the time off. But
that's why. Yeah.
Yeah. So Hawthorn last won a premiership in 2015. Okay, that was Clarko's last great year as a coach. Since then, the Hawthorn exit was really ugly. It was really ugly. Him and Sam Mitchell did not get along at all. The Hawks were not good. He left. The Hawks immediately got better. And since arriving at North Melbourne, nothing's happened. So, I don't know. Maybe D tier is too harsh. And maybe there isn't a D tier coach in the AFL. Maybe there's not.
Oh yeah, that's why people need to realise this is incredibly hard. Like, there's only 18 teams. To put someone in D is incredibly harsh. If we were to come on here and before we started the podcast said we're taking it from the last 5 years only, I'm very much happy to put him in the D tier. But
I think we have to at this point, don't you? Like,
I don't see anyone else. Oh, maybe Mini, but.
So let's go to a different sport. Bill Belichick coaches the Patriots, ends really ugly. He's the greatest coach of all time, though. Heads over to college. His first season at North Carolina is a complete and utter disaster. He's dating like a 24-year-old.
Well, I don't know if that's relevant to his coaching.
I'm saying most people, because of everything that's happened with Bill Belichick now in just one season, one bad season, would say that Bill Belichick is a D-tier coach. Alistair Clarkson, let's see, when did Clarko take over North Melbourne? So he gets to North Melbourne in 2022. Starting 2023, signs 2022. Yeah. Nothing's happened. Nothing.
How many games have they won?
Not many. And the astounding thing is they've lost so many games by 100+ points. Like, this is meant to be a defensive guy. He's meant to be a defensive genius. And North Melbourne have
won 11
defensively
games
since he's taken over.
They've won 11 games in 3 years.
I'll put him C, but I think if North Melbourne don't improve again this year, and we do this again next season,
I agree. I'm okay with that. I'm just happy he wasn't put in D. I just can't put the maker of modern football in the D.
Ross the boss, Ross Lyon, he's next. I think this is an easy B tier for me.
B, yeah, easy. Yeah. I think he's in for a big year. The list is there now. I'd say it's about finalised for his push. There's probably a year or two on some of the youngins, but I reckon he's ready to go berserk.
Above or below Matthew Nicks?
Below, but he could well be above by the end of the year.
Agree 100%. All right, Adam Uze, the aura god, as some like to call
him. The Ferrari himself. This is tough.
The car dealer. Where do you have him?
What a strong start to the year last year for the young group. The start
I reckon
of the year,
he's B.
They fell off. I think he's B as well, but I think he's under.
I reckon he's bottom of B.
Yeah. Look at this, Corn. We're on fire here.
We had a little bit of a disagreement with Clarko, but I think we're back on track here. He's bottom of B.
That's just a clip farm, though. We don't actually care that much. That's just
McQualter. McQualter. This is tough. He's got such a shit list. Like, it's so hard to judge if he's a good coach or not.
I'd put him in between Vossi and Clarko, probably. It's hard to
see. The thing is, though, we have to put someone D tier. Because what's the point of D tier if we're not going to put
I'll tell you what, this right now looks a little bit like Fremantle's list. Very top heavy. So let's, you know what, I'm all right to put him in D. Let's get him down there.
I think we have to put someone D tier. And unfortunately for McQualter, his list is shit. And, well, we just don't know. Like, we don't know if he's a good coach or not. So it's a bit stiff, but McQualter's D tier. Bevo. Are you going to let me clear out on this one?
I'm clearing out.
See, I want to clear something up. Okay? This is not my B. I play no part in this. I honestly...
You have the same face shape, Corn. That's what you need to understand.
I do have the same last name, but honestly, I was in the same room as Bevo yesterday, and there were some nervous faces around the place. They're really nervous. And I got an instruction from a certain someone not to mention I was a Corns. That someone was not from Channel 7, but I was told by someone not to say I was a Corns. And I just think this whole thing is ridiculous. Like, this is just football. We're having fun. People have opinions. It's not that deep. I'm sick. I'm actually sick of this whole thing, to be honest with you. So I thought it was pretty funny that someone was absolutely terrified that if a Corns was in the presence of Bevo, he would lose his shit. So if something that small can set someone off as an AFL coach, I'm not quite sure he's in the right headspace to deal with the pressure of a finals football game, you know? So I'm going to put Bevo in C tier. I'll put him above Clarko.
Yeah, the thing I'm trying to weigh up with Vossi and Bevo is the underperformance versus overperformance. Vossi didn't really have the list, so you can't really say he overperformed or underperformed really. He's just kind of in like what the Carlton was expected to do, whereas Bevo has the list.
Mm.
He's got, I think he just shouldn't. He can't not play finals with that list. I'm sorry, that's
The
ridiculous.
thing with Bevo is he is the coach of one of the greatest overachieving teams of all time. So we know he's capable of coaching a list that isn't necessarily your typical premiership list to win the ultimate goal. But I'm just not quite sure at this stage in his coaching career and with how long he's been with the Bulldogs, which is over 10 years now, he's capable of coaching this group to a premiership. So I've got him C. Dean Cox. Up and down year for Dean. Started real slow. Came home strong though. What did you make of his first season?
Yeah, came home real strong with a fit list. Is your tip for the premiership coach?
He is.
He'll be coaching Origin this week, which we'll speak on a little bit later. For me, he is at the moment probably it's either higher or lower than at the moment probably Matthew Nicks. Probably lower than Matthew Nicks, higher than.
Yeah, I was going to recommend putting him below Ross and before Uze.
Yeah, so we're right around that.
Yeah, I'll go with your suggestion and put him in front of Ross. I think he got the emotions, or he let the emotions get the better of him the first few weeks, and you could feel that. And I think as a coach, I prefer, you obviously have to discuss failure as a coach of a football team, but I don't think you can dwell on it. And I think the decision by Dean Cox to really sit and study the Swans' grand final loss was a bit of a misstep for him early in his career. And I think it actually set the Swans back and kind of put them in this state of fear. And it almost became a self-fulfilling prophecy that, we have to study this grand final so we don't have this grand final hangover that everyone talks about every year. The grand final loser never gets back, and we're going to study it and study it and study it so this doesn't happen. And then it actually did kind of happen because all they were doing was talking about it. I think that was a little bit of a misstep from Dean Cox, and I reckon he will have learnt so much from his first year, and you could almost see his confidence grow whenever they cut to him in the coach's box later in the season. He wasn't losing his mind all the time, and even in press conferences, you can kind of feel, all right, I know what I'm doing now. I'm getting the rhythm of what it takes to be a senior coach at AFL level. So, this guy was touted as one of the next great head coaches before he took over at Sydney. Not sure he'll get quite to that level because almost no one does. But I do think he's still going to be really, really good. And I'm not too worried about the first few weeks of the 2025 season. I reckon Sydney's going to be awesome this year, like I've said previously. So we've got two new coaches.
Can we skip to Stephen King here? Just
okay.
To tie into a second section we're going to speak on a little bit after.
So
new coaches, incredibly hard.
C tier, don't you reckon? C tier?
I think
bottom of C.
Yeah, I think that's what you can expect from Melbourne. I think bottom of C. I think we almost have to rank these guys on where you can expect them to be at the end of the year, just because we don't have any prior knowledge on either of them. So I'm happy with C. I think that's around about where Melbourne will finish up anyway.
Yeah.
Now, this next one, if we're going off charisma in interviews, then there's no discussion to be had. I'll let you have a speak, but I'm just not in a good space with this bloke at the moment.
I think we're being a bit harsh. I don't think Port's going to be good. I also don't think that's going to be Josh Carr's fault. I think. Can we talk about Koshi and the rebuild thing? Because he said that exact same sentence on this podcast
last year. Yeah,
it was literally. I reckon yesterday. It was a year ago. He said that. So I think it puts unnecessary pressure on Carr, and I actually do think Port Adelaide's going to have to rebuild next year. So it's just a really he kind of has to double down now because he said it on 5AA, he said it on my podcast, he said it on the first time he came on and the second time he came on. He's now said it to Channel 7 and he's going to say it again throughout the year. So he kind of has to double down, and I get that, or else he'd be backing away from his word, and Port fans would eat him alive for that. But I just don't love the feeling around the club at the moment, and I'm not sure everyone's on the same page.
Yeah, I don't think there's been a time in my supporting of Port which I've felt more detached from the club. I think there's a huge gap between club fans and club staff at the moment. And I don't think there was that last year with the likes of even people like Boki, and when Robbie was around, I feel like they did so well on integrating. I feel like the club did so well on integrating everyone in and keeping everyone so in the know. I feel like since Ken's gone, since that last game in Gold Coast, I feel like I haven't really, it's almost like I've forgotten that I support them in a way. It's like, I just feel like I don't have a clue what's going on with this club. I don't have a read on where we're going to be. I don't have a read on what's going on with Butters. I don't have a read what's going on with any of the new kids we've got in, any of this rookie list stuff and this last spot with Jaden Stevenson and the like we're fighting for. I have no idea what's going on, and therefore I have no idea what to expect, which makes this one so, tough.
Yeah, we're not a Port Adelaide podcast, so I won't spend a lot more time on this, but I think Josh has to go at the bottom of C. And I actually don't know what we're going to learn from this year with Port Adelaide. I don't know. Like we could get any range of outcomes for Port this year. They could finish bottom 4. They could be in the play-in. They could be somehow sneak into a final spot. But I just think they're in a really tough position at the moment. And unfortunately for Josh, it's a rough year to take over. So I'm going to put him bottom of C, and we'll see what happens with Port Adelaide this year. Really quick, we're 44 minutes in, so I don't want to spend too much time, but State of Origin is on Saturday night. How are you feeling about it? Do you care?
Hard to care. I care about footy, so that's why I'm going to watch it. I'm going to watch it because I love football. Hard to care with it being WA Victoria. I don't know how they could expand it to put a third, maybe even a fourth team in. If they're going to really try, which I hope they do, it'll be a lot more entertaining, but Victoria will win by 6 goals just because it is so ridiculous. I think Ken made a great point on radio the other day about the coaches. It's just another opportunity for everyone to try and poach Zach Butters. Sam Mitchell's going to be 10% in front of everyone else when it comes to the whole Zach Butters thing. I'm excited though. I'm just happy there's some footy. We're so close to being out of the grey zone, the ecological dead zone of the year where there's just nothing going on. No one wants to watch the play-ins for the T20 World Cup happening in the middle of nowhere. I just want footy to be back, so I'm looking forward to it. Best on, my prediction is going to be Marcus Montatelli. Thank you.
Okay. Ecological grey zone. I don't mind that. That's not bad.
Thank you, bro. Thank you.
I think they're going to try, which is awesome. They've convinced me. I didn't think they were. I think both teams are going to try really hard, which is actually really exciting. The issue is that you touched on there. Victoria's list is just so much better that if they do actually try, they're going to kill WA. So I don't think it's going to be a close game unless the players kind of agree, hey, let's make this kind of close in the fourth quarter and then we'll try our absolute hardest. But yeah, I think they're going to try, and that's all you can ask for. It is kind of tough to care or get invested because it is WA Vic, but we're a small majority compared to all the Vic and WA supporters that are going to love this game. So I think it's a good thing, and hopefully it comes back every year if the players do try, which sounds like they're going to do. Really quickly, we forgot to recap what happened in the draft or in the rankings, so I'll do that now. In S tier, we have Fagan, Chris Scott, and Damien Hardwick. In A tier, we have Craig McRae, Sam Mitchell, Adam Kingsley. In B tier, we've got Matthew Nix, Dean Cox, Ross Lyon, and Adam Uze. In C tier, we've got Justin Longmire. So that's Brad Scott. We got Michael Voss. We got Luke Beveridge. We got Alistair Clarkson, Stephen King, and Josh Carr. And then unfortunately in D tier, just because we kind of had to have someone in D tier, we got Minnie McQualter, Andrew McQualter, Finlay. I think this worked. It was a little bit of a different podcast from us, not something we typically do, but maybe we'll bring the rankings back throughout the year if this episode does well. Just a reminder, if we get to 1,000 subscribers before Port Adelaide wins 3 games in a row this year, I will do whatever the top comment says. So get into the YouTube comments, get into the Spotify comments, send me a DM on Instagram or comment on one of my posts what you want us to do, me or Finlay or both. Maybe we'll both do something when we hit 1,000 subscribers, and we'll do it if we get there before Port Adelaide wins 3 games in a row. Finners, we also have to plug No Review Required, Finlay, which is going to be our show we're doing every Friday night. Hopefully, we're going live pretty early into the season, but at least for round 0, as we do a bit of a test, it'll be going up late into the hours of Friday evening after the game. We're going to give our instant reactions to everything that happened on Friday and on Thursday, maybe a very brief preview of the Saturday games. I had someone ask, why is it called No Review Required? We're not people who kind of sit there and go through the game footage. We're not going to break down, the loose man in defense or the zones that whoever's playing used against their opponent. We're not going to put up some vision on the screen and talk through it. We're just going to go, fuck it. No review required. We're talking about what we saw. We're giving our instant reactions. And that's just what it's going to be like. Finlay, there may be a few hot takes. You excited for round 0?
Oh,
that's all we need to know. That's perfect. We love it. Finlay, appreciate you being here. This has been the Eddie Corns podcast. Subscribe, leave a review. Make sure we get to 1,000 on YouTube, and thank you for 500. We'll be back very, very soon. Thanks for listening.